All right, so I set the stream up. Hopefully, someone will jump in there and tell us our audio is legit, and then if so, we can roll. I don't think you'll be able to hear bumpers though, which is not a big deal. And in fact, I'll test it real quick. See if you. I can't imagine a scenario where you can hear this, but tell me if you can.
No.
There it goes.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. I'm better than I thought. Okay, cool.
You are.
I'm killing it today. Now,
You're
hopefully the people
technical
will.
genius.
Yeah, hopefully in the chat room people can hear us, and then we're good. Otherwise,
Now on my screen, I have a small camera or a screen of myself.
Yeah.
Down below too. Is that normal?
On Google.
Yeah. So I'm seeing the larger one that you moved up, but I still have the one down below as well.
Interesting. Yeah, you should be able to. Well, I can't move yours around. I don't know. As long as you can see me and stuff, I think we're okay.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
And I actually on my broadcast software, I can see you. So as long as that visual's fine, whatever you're seeing, it's got to be good.
Okay.
I know on mine, it depends on how you have it hooked up. Actually, I know what you're talking about because sometimes I'll see like an infinite deal sometimes because of like some redundancy somewhere. I'm not sure how that works, but anyway.
Right. I'm noticing a delay between the two now. So one must be my regular screen, and then the other one is at the top is the one that's going to show up on Twitch.
Oh, I wonder if it's you know what? I think your mic might be a little low too. No, not necessarily that, but just in my thing input. Let me change my system volume just a little bit. Where am I at? It's recording that. Might be able to bring you up just a little bit. Which one is this? Speakers, headphones. That one is speakers. Oh, that's XSplit. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up a little bit.
Here, I can turn mine up a little bit.
Oh no, that's better. I'm just bringing it up on my end. I think that's like 10 times better. Good. I think that'll be just fine.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's the Google thing is kind of weird sometimes too. So. It's kind of clunky. I think it's gotten a little better, but let me see if I just realized I can't move you. Okay, real quick, I want to do another test. So say something real quick.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing.
So much better. Okay. So on my end, I'm recording all the things. I have a backup in place, so we're good to go. I'm hoping somebody besides me will be in the chat room here in a minute. Oh, shoot. And I actually didn't change something. Hold on. I did everything but the Twitch stuff. Hold on. Oh, come on. Security codes. Damn you, Twitch, for trying to make sure it's me. 6 4 6 9. Remember this? Oh, it must have been 30 days. Okay.
Right. Is Twitch owned by Twitter?
Twitch is
Amazon, right?
I think it's Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, like, I had to update my Twitter account yesterday because there was some kind of security issue.
You know, and I haven't done that yet. I need to. I got a message about it today saying like, oh, make sure that you update your blah blah blah, change your password or something. What was the issue there? They got hacked or something?
They found like a security issue. They didn't say it was a hack, but
well, that's kind of implied, I think.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. But potential breach.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just change your passwords. Everything should be fine. You gotta love that. All right. Let me make sure I can get the chat. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now we're talking. I think I've almost got all my ducks in a row. Maybe I'll send a tweet out real quick. Then at least maybe people will show up. But I'm hoping we're good to go. I hate to start and then have people join in and can't hear us.
Right.
So I didn't do trailers. I feel like we just jump in. I don't know how much of the SWTOR stuff you've been following lately.
I've been following it a little bit. I mean, I know about the patch, and I've actually updated today. I just haven't played anything.
You're a step ahead of me. I haven't updated yet. I was going to do it after this.
Well, I never know how long it's going to take, so I just as soon as I got home.
Yeah. Well, I looked through the patch notes a bit, and so that was something I did today. And I'm just gonna gloss through them real quick. I figure we at least should do a SWTOR section. And I don't have much for Star Wars, man. There's not a lot of Star Wars news. I have a couple of things for the Solo movie and stuff, but I mean, we can kind of muddle our way through that a little bit. And actually, that Parks news thing is a little out of date too. Anything cool Star Wars wise happened lately? I haven't.
Not really. I mean, the trailer right before Avengers. I don't know if you had that in your theater.
Yeah.
I think you did actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Other than that, not really.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if we don't have news, we don't have news. I'm not that worried about it.
Right.
Like I said, the show's been kind of short lately because we just haven't had much going on. Let's see. About to record. Oops. I got somebody showed up. Oh, they're gone. I think it's just you and me. About to record episode 134. I'll tag my friend John Steen here.
And he can retweet it.
I know, right? Crazy.
Not that I have that many followers, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is, man. Social media is silly that way. So about to record join us live on.
Everybody's probably playing the update instead of.
Yeah, that's my guess. Let's see. I should put the link in here. www. Yeah, I was pretending all day I wasn't really, really tired. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. I got to go play 9 holes with my student. Okay. I'm awake. I'm awake. And then, like, I just started getting kind of delirious at the end of the day. And I'm like, and then after this, I'm going to eat dinner and then finally settle in. So we'll be through this pretty quick as long as we don't have tech issues, which we haven't yet. I'm waiting for somebody to show up. Let's see.
So how did your student do?
He's doing okay. I mean, in our league, he was like second, but I mean, nobody in our league breaks 100. So he's about to go to a playoff where everybody scores, probably in the 80s. So it should be interesting. It'll be a good experience for him, and he's getting better, which is good.
Good.
So, and he's actually a kid I've known since he was like 2. I've known the family a long time. They're really good people. His dad is a teacher at the school, and he was out there at night too. So it was a fun night. I'm just tired.
Yeah, I haven't got to go out yet. It hasn't. It's been wet, really wet here. So I'm hoping maybe next Monday or Tuesday before we leave for DC, I can get out one day.
Seriously, how often do you play?
During the summertime, usually like once or twice a month. I'm not a real heavy player by any stretch.
Yeah, well, when you come out, we got to play, dude.
Yeah, and I'm not good by any stretch. Like, I'm happy when I break 100. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's not what golf's about, man. I just like getting out there with my friends and family and stuff, and playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sending that tweet. Hopefully, there's no typos, and then we'll just get going. People will join us later. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab another beer because I'm gonna need it.
Okay.
1 sec. I haven't seen her, so. All right, got my backup beer.
Lagunitas.
Actually, this one, I got Fog Cutter, double IPA. It's from Lost Coast Brewing Company. It's a good one, actually. If you ever see this one, pick this one up. I like this beer a lot. Lost Coast. It's actually one of the only ones. Excuse me, one of the only ones from Lost Coast I like. There's a couple other ones that are decent, but there's this one that people like a lot, which I hate, but whatever. What is it? Great White, I think is what it is. Anyway, I don't like that one, but whatever. Here we are.
Yeah, right, that's kind of what was the one that I was told about, the Ballast Point Victory at Sea, I think is what it's called. It was a porter and it was terrible.
I don't like their porters. Ballast Point's great, but their porters are not. No. No, all of their IPAs are delicious, amazing concoctions, but the rest is not good. Can you hear us both? There's 3 people in there. One is me. One's probably you. I'm guessing someone's lingering. But it'd be nice to know how we're doing. Oh, they're gone. Okay. Well, let's just... I put the pressure on them to respond.
We scared them off.
All right, so I got the patch notes, so we can run through that really quick. And then, that's pretty much all I got for SWTOR, honestly. The game update went today, so we can always report back next week. And then I might skip that park. No, I mean, we can talk about the park news, I guess. I don't really care. Like I said, we don't have a whole lot here. But I wouldn't mind picking your brain and talking about Avengers for a couple minutes towards the end if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. It'd be great. Some of my students keep coming to me and telling me things, and they're like, I didn't like this, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, they're, like, upset about how it went. And I'm like, dude, like, remember, maybe you didn't know what the comics were like, but also, like, believe it or not, they filmed 2 movies, so it was going to be a cliffhanger. And so I think they didn't know that going into it. So it's kind of kind of that kind of thing. So anyway. All right. Might as well let's get going here. I got everything set and ready to go. All right, man. I'm glad you're here. Let's do this thing.
All right. Let's have fun.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm all in.
Hello and welcome to episode 134 of the Usual Podcast, a podcast where we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall, and with me, filling in for Will, is our longtime drinking buddy, Mr. John Skeen. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Oh, doing great. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Dude, I'm glad you're filling in, man. It's been a little too long. We got to have you on more often. We keep saying it, and we're just not doing it. So I feel bad about that.
Hey, life happens. This is the way things go.
I hear you, buddy. And we're just sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages. What are you drinking, dude?
I am drinking a Sun King Weemac Scottish style ale. It's kind of my go-to around the house.
Well, that's one of the ones you sent us, I think. Will really liked that one as well. The brew pub I work at has a Scottish ale. What's the brewing company? It's Founders Brewing Company, I believe. It's Dirty Bastard. You ever had that?
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I think I sent you guys some of that once. Founders is real big around this area. It's a Michigan brewery.
Yeah. Founders is good. Actually, it's funny. Speaking of Founders, we did a tap takeover at a couple shifts ago. Founders Brewing Company came into our brew pub or our pizza pub and took over a bunch of our back taps. And so we had a bunch of beers from them. We had flights. It was pretty cool. It was nice.
Yeah, they're real big through that area. They're they have one. It's a all day IPA that's really good too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So real quick, this is a side note. Skeen is echoing. Okay, I bet it's because if you need to turn off the audio on your Google Hangouts.
Okay.
If you mute yourself, then you won't be echoing. Will's in the chat room, by the way, popping in, and I'm glad he did because we were trying to figure out some audio, make sure our audio issues were good. So say things, Skeen, and let us know if it's better, Will, please, before you go. Did you mute it? Oh, see, but if you mute it, then you can't. I can't hear you. Oh, mute your Twitch. Twitch. Not Google. Duh.
How about now? Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, well, I can hear you. Let's make sure you're not echoing. William? Chat room, William? Say a couple more things, dude.
Will coming in to save the day for technical issues.
Yeah, it's like I always have to mute my Twitch so I can have the channel open, but otherwise you'll be echoing. Last thing, movie. Okay. Oh, neat. Still echoing. Why? Wonder why. Maybe it's on my end. Oh. But if I mute, I wonder if it's because if I mute you. Wait, you can't hear me now, right?
Ooh, now I can't hear you.
Right, that's what I thought. I bet it's because. Why is it? I bet it's because of the way I have this set up. When you come through, you're coming through both in Hangouts so I can hear you, and you're coming through somewhere else. Mute his Twitch and Hangouts volume. Mute his Twitch and Hangouts volume, not the mic. That's what Will's saying. Try that. So make your Twitch should be muted either way. But you and then
so my Twitch is muted because it's actually I've got that up on a separate computer.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And then
my Hangout volume.
Yeah. Try to your volume just on your. So, well, will you be able to hear me though? That's the question.
I don't know. So I'm going to mute my. I'm going to mute my Hangout, then tell me if you can hear me.
Okay. No. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to do it that way. That's fine. Well, you might just have to be a little echoey for a bit. It's not gonna be echoey on the recording. It's just gonna be echoey for anybody tuning into Twitch. I think it's because I have to have Hangouts going. How can I hear you and not? I think it's echoing on my end. Actually, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I got going on my end, but really it's just a Hangout call, so I don't think.
I wonder if it's because I have this other thing recording. No, that couldn't be it. Anyway, well, straight from the board. No, I'm not sure because I get my audio straight from the board. Yeah. Because my audio is coming through the board, and then you're coming through the system audio, so it shouldn't be an issue. It's not an issue on my end.
He says hashtag blame Marshall.
Oh, whatever, bro. Don't you have somewhere to be?
He's supposed to be eating dinner with mom.
I know, man. Come on.
And what did you get to eat? That's what I want to know.
That's the question. All right, man. Let's see. Well, I don't know how to fix it, and I'm not 100% all that worried about it. Maybe if I turn down.
You want me to try switching? I mean, it's a new headset, so I don't think it's a headset, but I can try switching just to a microphone if that would help.
No, maybe. Do you have your? I wonder if you have your. Do you have another input going at the same time?
Another input.
Yeah. Do you have a webcam audio on? Because that's what I had to do on mine. We had You might have an embedded audio on a laptop or something that's also going. But see, it's not echoing on my end. I feel like if it was echoing, it's a Twitch thing. Oh, well,
yeah.
I feel like we should just power through it, to be honest with you.
It's whatever you want to do. I mean, I don't have... I'm trying to think because I have Audacity closed.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that. I can... You want me to... So, trying to think here. Because the webcam is just a camera that's on my laptop.
Okay. You don't have an embedded microphone? Make sure your microphone's off on your laptop.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because it's probably why it sounds okay on my end.
Yeah. Get under audio.
We'll have a lot for blooper reels. That'll be good.
Yeah.
But you're part of the blooper now. And if that doesn't work, I'm just going to power through it. Because like I said, I don't have any echo on my end that I'm hearing. And like I said, I tested what I recorded from you earlier. So.
Looking here. Sounds. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else going because the only thing that's showing up on mine is just the headset.
Okay.
So.
All right. No worries.
Okay.
I say we just power through. No one's there anyway. It's just Will. It's fine.
All right.
All right. So what am I drinking? I am drinking a little something ale from Lagunitas Brewing Company, and I got a little Jameson on the side, and actually I got a fog cutter on deck too. So I've had a long week, and I just finished this first beer, so I'm gonna catch up here in a couple minutes. So
after 2 beers in the Jameson, that would definitely.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be a good night's sleep.
Cool. All right, so before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter. And John, I forgot to throw it in here, is...
At John R. Skeen
Nice.
At Twitter. So.
And we are on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and all that. So like us, share us, and tell your friends, of course. Support the show, teespring.com/store/usualpodcast. And John, you bought some shirts.
I did. I bought a shirt, and I love it. So I've worn it twice.
I appreciate you supporting the show. You've been a long time supporter of this show, man. And we don't have you on here enough. And I know I've said that already, but I'm glad we're doing this. So audio issues aside, I'll fix it in post. Sorry, anybody in the chat room. If John's echoing, we didn't figure it out, and we're powering through. So we have timestamps in the show notes for non-SWTOR fans. And thanks to everybody who is in the chat room. If you're sticking around, there might be 1 or 2 people in there, so cool. We are not doing trailer time this week. And, of course, one of our 2 drinking buddies is joining me on the show right now. So thanks to Mr. John Skeen, as always, for supporting our show and sending us beer and doing all the things you do for us. And, of course, a shout-out to Eddie as well, who one day I will get him on the show. I vow it. I vow I will do it.
But, come on the show, Eddie. They'll treat you with respect. They're kind. They're nice.
I'm telling him. I see the guy all the time. I'm like at the gym. I was like, dude. I see him at the gym. I was like, dude, you come on the show? And he's like, no. I was like, dude, you're doing it. One day. One day. Anyway, let's get to SWTOR, man. We have a little update to talk about. So let's get into that.
Sounds good.
You want to fight? I'm ready.
You do not have to stand against me. Instead, I will share all of this with you, if you will only kneel.
Man, one day I'll update that bumper, but it just seems like, it's so epic, you know? I love it.
It is, but, well, maybe when 6.0 comes out,
maybe
they'll have something, cinematic to go with it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens at 6.0 for sure. Well, one day we'll get more information about that as well. Anyway, dude, I know I didn't put your name in there, but you are Will, officially. So what have you been doing in-game this week, my friend?
This week, and actually the last couple of weeks, I've been, I kind of got tired of the CXP grind with some of my higher level tunes, so I'm doing a Sorc Healer, which I haven't done a healing spec before.
Oh, yeah.
I've always just done DPS stuff, so trying something a little bit new. But I'm having fun with it. It's, the very first line I did was an Inquisitor, so kind of revisiting that after 4 or 5 years has been kind of fun. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that part.
Well, we're similar in that light, because my first and my main is an Inquisitor, and I have a couple other. I have a Sorc, and I think I have another DPS assassin somewhere. But I like the storyline for the Inquisitor. It's one of my favorites actually. And it's something near and dear to my heart. I used to work for Tor Wars back in the day, and I used to do a lot of writing about the Inquisitor and the story and everything else. So It's one of those things I don't mind revisiting that. But healing, you're a braver man than me.
No, like I said, I'm trying. I'm sure if I get in an ops group of some sort, I'd be kicked out pretty quickly. But I'm trying.
Did I tell you? I actually tried to heal for What's an Ops group one time, and I don't know, I think it was my Sork actually. I'll never do that again. I'm pretty terrible at that, and everybody else knows that I'm not that guy, dude. I'm more of a tank guy.
Yeah, but you're an awesome tank. You're
thanks,
an awesome tank during walk.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's what my strong point. I can DPS okay, but tanking's where I'm at. So anyway, yeah. Speaking of WoG, I have actually been out of game for better part of a month. I've missed WoG for a few weeks. I've had various things come up. I've actually had to pick up shifts in my other job and blah blah. So I'll be back tomorrow night. Hopefully before my parents show up into town. I got a busy weekend ahead of me as well. But I'm looking forward to be back in the group, and hopefully you can jump in there tomorrow with us, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's my hope. We don't have any super early morning, 7:30 in the morning soccer games, so I'm hoping that I can, play till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and it not be an issue.
Yeah, good. All right, so speaking of, let's get to the news then. And we only got a couple things. We have a game update that was delayed, and so it was delayed by a couple days. It actually literally came out today that we're recording this Thursday, May the 3rd. And the Keith just basically the post was he said one key learning this past year is not to release a game update if it's not ready. They pushed really hard, and basically they wanted to resolve a couple things, so they pushed it back a couple days. They did follow through and come through with the update today. So I thought, because everybody loves patch notes, we'll go through a couple things. I'm just going to go through the highlights, to be honest with you. And there's a couple other things that were coming down that were supposed to come with this patch that did show up. So let's just chat real quick. So
right. I want to say that I'm glad that they delayed this instead of just releasing it.
Exactly.
I mean, as much as I've been looking forward to it, I don't want anything else like Umbara when that was released and all those problems. I'd rather wait a couple of days. I know some people in chat and on Dolphy were pretty bent about it, but
people like to get upset, and a lot of us who play the game and have been playing the game as long as we have, it's like at this point we prefer it to be right, because if it comes through too early, we've had exploits, we've had so many other issues, and actually I've heard there might be an exploit out there. Hopefully they fixed it with the patch 2. I haven't heard them officially comment on it, but there's supposedly an exploit with an op or something going on right now. So hopefully, rule of thumb, if you feel like it's an exploit, it probably is, so stop doing it.
Yeah, don't do it.
All right, so we have finally finished the Nathema conspiracy. And that is going to be in a new flashpoint. And it's basically the Traitor Saga reaches dramatic conclusion on the planet Nathema as you face a deadly enemy determined to obliterate your entire alliance. So have you played through all the flashpoints and stuff?
I have.
Good.
So I'm ready to go.
Yeah, me too, man. I like the storyline. It's interesting when you're playing a game, and if a character in the game does something to your character in the game and you're like upset about it, that means the writing is good. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they did a good job with this for sure. Also, double rewards are coming with this event during this time as well, which is pretty cool. It's going to get me back in game. Like I said, I've been playing some ESO in the last, not a lot of it, just here and there, but I haven't really been playing much at all for the last month. But double rewards will get me back in the game. I have some CXP grinding to do with Attune, and apparently I'm going to do that. Who knows? And then the big news really is the returning companions. We have Felix Arreso for the consular story, and Akivi Spar and Mako for the bounty hunter and smuggler, respectively. So that's pretty cool, man. Mako, I know, is a big one for a lot of people in our community.
Oh, I know a lot of people are excited about Mako.
Were you one of those Mako guys?
No, not necessarily. But I remember Akivi from the smuggler storyline. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of like that character. So I'm glad we're getting that one back.
Me too. And the smuggler story I only did one time pretty quickly, so it'd kind of be nice to go back to that tune and kind of get that companion and just kind of revisit some old tunes. It'd be kind of neat. So, all right. So general stuff, Conquest objectives. There's a bunch of stuff that was changed with Conquest. I'm not going to run through all of it. increasing points gained for repeatable and daily repeatable objectives. I'm not going to go through the numbers part of it, but that's just in general. Additional increase for GSF, Warzone, and Flashpoint participation objectives. And this is one of those things they were saying they were going to do because, honestly, that I felt, and I did Conquest right when the last update came, and it just felt like I was doing stuff, but nothing was worth enough, and it was going to take me too long to get there. And so they are changing a lot of those numbers, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it was another one of those things that I guess as long as we've been doing the CXP grind now, it was another grind, and I wasn't sure that I was ready for that. Now, however, I will say yesterday, let's see, I was on Hoth with that Sork that I'm leveling up, and I ended up getting conquest points for I forget what it was from the Gree event.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, oh okay, all right, I'll take it.
I don't know if they fixed that bug, but that was a bug, and I didn't see it in the patch notes, but maybe they fixed it. But it was if you killed a certain thing, you actually got like 2 conquest objectives from like a different planet. It was one. I got them too, and they were actually worth quite a bit in the beginning, which was kind of neat. But yeah, man, I don't know if you were a Conquest guy before, but to be fair, like, I was never really all that into Conquest, but if it doesn't feel as grindy as everything else, then, I'm willing to give it a shot. So
absolutely, and you know, I mean, obviously we're in the same guild too, so
yeah,
the more it gets pushed by the guild, the more I'm probably likely to try doing it. So
indeed. All right, so let's see. What else we got here? The play a flashpoint objective is being changed to play a flashpoint or uprising. That's something. That's Conquest related as well, so you can take your pick. At least you get some more choices. And the kill X enemies daily objective will now be split into 3. So it's 50, 100, and 150, which is kind of nice because you don't want to. I mean, going back to the grind thing, it was kind of a little too much. So you get points depending on how many you kill, but you can go to a planet, kill 50 things, and be done with it if that's all you need to do. So that's kind of nice. What else we got? What a repeatable. I don't know if I want to deal with that. Oh, introduction of new repeatable daily objectives for completing 3 and 5 activity finder activities. There's a bunch of stuff like that. I don't really want to go through all of this stuff, but what is this? Complete specific flashpoint objectives, such as defeat Battle for Ilum, have been moved from repeatable daily repeatable and had their points increased up to 600, up from 130. So that's a huge increase. So stuff like that I think is important. I mean, that's why I never did any of the flashpoints when they changed the Conquest, because it's like, why would I do a flashpoint for 130 points? You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
It just
the only time I was doing the flashpoints anyways was for CXP.
Exactly.
Just dipping it on the veteran stuff and knocking it out. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So what else we got? There's a bunch of class changes and stuff, which I'm not going to go through. I never do. So if you're interested in that, link in the show notes, of course. There's some changes to flashpoints and uprisings and operations. A lot of it has to do with Gods from the Machine. And Isaacs specifically. I'm not going to go through all of it. Honestly, I haven't even gotten to that boss yet. So, they were making some tweaks. I know, especially on the higher levels, it was like nearly impossible, which I thought was actually kind of funny. Any thoughts on? I don't know if you've done any of the rest of that op. Have you?
I have not. The last time I did that op was actually, I think we were in WOG, and we got to the next, not to Isaacs, but the boss before that.
Right. And we didn't finish it, did we?
No, we kept wiping on it, and I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning our time, and it was
yeah,
like, okay.
I think I was sleep tanking is what I like to call it at that point, and I decided to call it a night. I think I was like, I gotta be done with this. Sleep tanking. I'm a decent tank, but if I'm not awake, my tanking skills go down exponentially.
Sleep tanking. I think that needs to be the name of the show.
I think that's the name of the show for sure. All right, man. So the one thing I want to talk about too before we get out of this is items in economy. There is the new augment schematics, and that's been added to the game. They're 240 legendary augments, and you can get them from the Nathema Flashpoint on Master Mode. So defeating those bosses, so they should drop, I'm guessing, randomly from that, which is kind of cool. I don't know if we need a new augments. They really just introduced another augment. I'm still, I guess, now 2 augments behind, so here we are. I don't know, man. I like that I can make augments, and I like having augments. But at the same time, if I'm not playing really high-end content, do I really need to spend that much money in trying to upgrade my augments? That's the real question, right?
Right. I mean, if you're a member of a high end raid group, that does regular weekly material,
Yeah.
I can see that being useful. But I mean, for me personally, the way I play, and it may be kind of like you do. There's times I don't get in for a whole week.
For sure.
I'm kind of an all or nothing person when
Yeah.
it comes to SWTOR. So it doesn't necessarily appeal to me any, but I know that it does to a lot of people. So
Well, and it makes sense if you're min-maxing and you're trying to, max your DPS and all that stuff, and I get it. But, like I said, I'm okay with the augments I have right now. I'm happy with my gear right now, considering I'm, I finally got to 300 CXP, and I'm maxing out my gear as much as I can with my tank at least. So I'm not going to stress too much about augments, but I wouldn't mind starting to craft some of the new ones to even just to sell them. You know what I mean? But
Right.
It's really difficult, not only to get the schematics, but to get the materials for some of this stuff. It gets really, really pricey. So
yeah, me personally, like when I run ops, I'm more concerned with what beer I'm drinking than
Yeah.
what augments I have.
and that's really what WoG is all about, That's awesome. All right, so let's see what else we got. Small crafting boxes have been added to Conquest rewards, and large crafting boxes has been added, and those are for the medium and large yield planets, which again, I haven't dived into that too much. And what else we got? Mission and NPCs. Oh, introduction to Conquest mission is once again been complete. Can once again be completed, which is kind of nice, considering Conquests are a big thing now. And there was some bugs, I guess. Imperial players can now once again get to the mission to the black hole from the Imperial fleet. I don't know. I just use my my quick travels, but whatever. And same thing with Section X. There must have been a bug in the last patch, but all right, man. So anything else SWTOR wise you want to talk about at all?
No, not really. I mean, we're I'm ready to play the new material, give it a shot, and see what's going on. It's been a while since we had something new to play. So.
Agreed. Me too. And I'm more of a story guy, and I play ops with you guys and with our guild and stuff like that. And that's kind of mostly what I do. I do dailies and stuff too, but. Honestly, man, I'm more excited about just checking out the end of this storyline. I'm trying to avoid spoilers. Thankfully, our community is pretty good about that. I saw a couple tweets earlier today from the person who wrote it, who wrote the storyline, and they were getting praise for that. So I'm hoping it ends well, and I think it's gonna be kind of cool. So we'll talk more about that next week.
Awesome.
All right, dude. So. Technical issues aside, considering we don't have to worry about the people in the chat room and stuff because it's just us. Neat. Let's go with let's get to Star Wars, man. We don't have a whole lot, but I'm gonna play a bumper anyway. How about that?
All right, bumpers are always good.
I was ready to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
Hey, now that I got you on the line, dude, I figured out something we could talk about at the top of the Star Wars section. You and I haven't talked about The Last Jedi.
Okay.
I don't want to spend all day on it, but what'd you think overall?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I liked the story. I kind of, when I went into it, I was almost expecting kind of, that whole, as close as The Force Awakens was to A New Hope, I expected kind of an Empire Strikes Back. And in a way, I think we kind of got that.
We kind of did, yeah.
But it was almost like the rebirth and the pushing forward of the new characters that we have, and I like that because eventually, unfortunately, we actually literally lost some of the old trio. We need to focus on the new characters, and it's time to put them at the forefront. And I think that the movie did an excellent job of establishing that and kind of taking the story into a new direction.
No, I agree, man, and I agree with the fact that, especially, we know now they're going to be done with the Skywalker saga after the next film. So, if they're going to do anything with these other characters, they need to move forward. and they need to kind of be focused on these guys, and they did a good job. I mean, I overall really liked the film. My biggest thing was the fact that you didn't really know which direction it was going to go. And you're right, they did mirror Empire in that they were on the run the whole time. You know what I mean? And that's really what a middle film in Star Wars has kind of been. It's you're running, you're losing, but you're trying to reestablish yourself a little bit, and they did a good job with that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. When my first viewing of it, I enjoyed it, but I kind of walked out of the theater going, like I had to see it again.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just because the story was good, but because there was so much going on. I needed to kind of wrap my head around the things that I didn't necessarily absorb the first time. So
exactly.
After the second viewing, when I walked out, I'm like, that was a really good movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, and I actually didn't get to see it a second time in the theater, but I've watched it a couple times at home, fairly recently, and I still enjoy it. I love those characters, man. I really like, unfortunately I don't think Daisy's gonna come back after Episode 9 in any way, shape, or form, but I really like Rey, and I really like what she did with the character. I love the interactions with Luke. Like, that's some of my favorite Star Wars banter is between the two of them. It's just like, you get to see Luke being, a old curmudgeon dude, and Rey just like, can you just teach me a thing and stop being such an ass about it, And I just really like that. It was a lot of fun in that aspect, at least. So, and we watched it with the kids, and the kids dug it, and it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of like the fact that as much speculation as we kind of had between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, as far as what was going to happen,
right?
A lot of those things were just thrown to the wind. Like when Luke tosses a lightsaber over his shoulder, it's like, yeah, we're not even going to go there. So there you go.
Well, I think that was the first indicator that, okay, well, and like the trailer said, things aren't going to go the way it's not going to go the way you think. And that was really what we got out of that film. Like, we didn't know where it was going to go, and every speculation was like, yeah, it's definitely not going to go the way we go, or the way we thought. So, that was kind of cool. So, moving on, Solo, and I think the last time we talked was very early on. I don't know if we even did it on mic, but very early on in the announcement that Solo was going to be a thing. Where are you at right now with the Solo film? Considering we're 3 weeks out.
Each trailer that's been released for Solo has gotten me increasingly excited.
Yeah.
For the release. At first, I wasn't sure, just because you're talking about a beloved character. I think for a lot of us, it was our favorite character. Growing up. So when you're looking at something that's going to dive into his past,
right,
it kind of concerned me. But the comics had kind of done a great job with that. So I was like, well, let's see what will happen.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to it. Once again, it's Star Wars, so it's not like I wasn't going to go see it anyways. But
right.
From what I've seen, I think it's going to be fine. And what's your thoughts?
Well, and I'm with you. I was a little skeptical in the beginning. Han Solo is one of my, first of all, Harrison Ford is one of my favorite actors. Han Solo, one of my favorite all-time characters in a film, right? So I wasn't super stoked about it in the beginning. But like you said, I started to kind of warm up to it a little bit, especially once I started seeing footage of it. I think it's actually going to be a lot of fun. I like that. Well, especially in this last one, when you got to hear Lando talk, and that line he gives, I think is really, what is it? Everything you heard about me is true. And it's like, that line, I'm just like, okay, I see where they're going with this a little bit. And of course, with the turmoil with directors and everything else, there's a lot riding on this film. If they're going to keep doing these solo, oh wow, if they're going to keep doing these standalone films, I think this one has to do well, and it is projected to do well, which is something that that we talked about the other day. But on that note, everybody I've shown this trailer to, well, let's put it this way. I showed this trailer to my wife not a week or two ago, or whenever that last trailer came out, and she had an issue with Alden Ehrenreich. She's like, well, he doesn't really look like Han Solo. He doesn't really act like Han Solo. And the thing about it is, I get that there's a certain suspension of disbelief that has to happen. Obviously, we know it's not Harrison Ford. It's not a young Han Solo, right? But if we're going to buy the fact that he is going to be the role, what are we really expecting from this guy, right? The mannerisms, I think, are pretty close, some of the lines, but like I said, we only are getting snippets at this point, right? I think it wasn't really, let me rephrase that. It wasn't really, he wasn't acting like Han Solo. She just was hung up on the fact that it didn't look like him as much as she anticipated. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. But, to each their own opinion. But,
yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? CGI?
And that's the thing. You can't do that.
Right.
Please
and
not do that.
And the other thing to keep in mind, too, is this is a one-shot. It's not like this is going to be an ongoing series.
Right. This isn't the beginning of a trilogy or anything.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's a one-shot. So
yeah.
Sometimes you just got to roll with it.
I know. And I'm ready to roll with it, and I'm actually really excited about it. The last couple, I'm actually really intrigued by Woody's performance. I'm stoked to see how that character kind of plays out, the mentor role or whatever. Wait, did I get the actor's name wrong?
Yeah, you got it right.
No, Woody Harrelson. Yeah. So yeah. I'm looking forward to that. And I don't know. So as a transition, see.
I like what you're doing there. Yeah.
See what I'm doing here? So I have an article in here, and it's why Alden Ehrenreich was picked for Solo. So I'm just gonna pull one thing out of this here, and he was talking to, let's see, where is it at? I gotta find out what was it from. I can't remember. Oh, so anyway, this is Esquire. Sorry. So, an impression of Harrison Ford would have felt like an extended Saturday Night Live sketch. This is the original co-director, Chris Miller, was talking with Esquire. And we wanted someone who could evoke the spirit of the iconic performer we all remember while bringing something new and fresh. We talked a little bit about how Chris Pine, playing Captain Kirk, didn't do a Shatner voice and brought his own spin to the character while still evoking the vibe of the character. We felt Alden did the same with Han Solo. So, what do you think of that?
No, I agree with that. Actually, when you went down on a little bit farther on the article, I didn't know this, but he was the very first actor they saw.
Yeah.
Even after auditioning the other ones, I was like, oh, well, obviously he brought something that they liked to it.
Well, and a lot of times with that process too, you see somebody and then you see other people, and it's like, yeah, but okay, that guy did it this way, and I like that guy better. You know what I mean? So I'm glad he got the role. I know there was some issues with his acting and some other stuff like that. They bring in acting coaches. There's all kinds of stuff around this film. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm actually really excited about this movie, and I'm glad we get to see a Star Wars movie soon.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? A lot of people were skeptical about Rogue One, too, when it came out. I thought it was an incredible movie. So, once again, give it a chance.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else about Solo, dude?
Nope.
Cool. Well, we have one more thing. It's PG-13.
Well.
It got its rating, and we knew it was. I mean, it was either going to be PG or PG-13, right? The last 3 movies have been PG-13. Even Force Awakens was PG-13, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, it had to be with that last scene with Vader.
Yeah. That's a good point. So we got a rating. So we talked last week, super briefly about the new animated Star Wars TV show, right? I don't know if you've heard about this. Star Wars Resistance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Resistance.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know if I missed this story when we talked about it, but apparently it's going to be anime.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I saw the show notes, to be honest with you.
And so I don't know. This says, I don't know. I'm kind of confused by this. So it says, earlier today, Lucasfilm, and this was on the 26th, of last month. Earlier today, Lucasfilm confirmed its follow-up to Star Wars Rebels is coming, and the show will branch out in its aesthetic. After all, Star Wars Resistance will be an anime, and fans are ready to see what that means for the franchise. So what this says is the show will shed new light on Resistance. And it's this is Filoni. He says the idea for Star Wars Resistance came out of my interest in the World War II aircraft and fighter pilots. My grandfather was a pilot, and my uncle flew and restored planes, so that's been a big influence on me. So there's a long history of high-speed racing in Star Wars. He continued. I think we capture that sense of excitement in an anime-inspired style, which is something that the entire team has been wanting to do for a long time. So I don't 100% know it's going to be an anime per se, but it's going to be anime inspired. So, thoughts on that? I don't know how big into anime you are.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm not into it, so to speak.
Right.
I don't go to that wall in the comic book store.
I hear
So,
well, there's a lot of anime I do like. I was a big Dragon Ball Z fan in the day. I used to watch Sailor Moon. I mean Sailor Moon a little bit here and there, but and the anime inspired stuff I think are things like, I don't know, in my head is something like Powerpuff Girls and stuff like that, where it's like, you got the big eyes and you got the other stuff, but like it's not traditional anime. I don't even know how to quantify what we're talking about, but anyway.
At the end of the day, it's going to be the story that matters anyways to me. It's kind of like Rebels. Granted, I like the art in Rebels, but it was the story that kept me coming back every week. And they've got this one being the follow-up. It's to Rebels. It's going to be big shoes to fill, but it's just like Solo. You got to give it a chance. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right, and I remember there was some flack about Clone Wars when the animation style when that came out as well. So, once we get used to it, it's all about the story. You're absolutely right. And I'm intrigued to see where they go with it. That'd be cool. So, and we'll get some voice actors that we recognize as well. Gwendolyn Christie and some other people. It'll be neat. So. All right, man. I think I am going to skip this last bit and just get to the last section. What do you think?
Nope, that is fine.
Oh, cool. Maybe I remember to change this section of the show. Now it's Star Wars section. No, it's not.
See, normally I'm just watching and not participating,
I know,
so I can
right?
remind you.
I have to do stuff. Sometimes you gotta do stuff, man. All right, let's move on. All right, bumper time. Last one.
I can't imagine any kind of future where I'm a hero. Well, in the future, none of you are heroes. You're legends.
It's funny, I got some retweets, but nobody joined us. Okay, so let's move on. All right, man, so the top of the list, the reason I put this in here under merchandise is because I don't know if you've ever remember me telling this story, and I don't even know if I did on mic, but I have still in my attic every gaming system I've ever owned. The first one was my regular Nintendo Entertainment System, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issue for me was when I moved out of the house, my Super Nintendo, which I loved, I played the mess out of that thing. My mom just gave it to my neighbor, the little boy next door one day. And I came home and I was looking for my Super Nintendo, and she's like, "Oh no, I gave it to the neighbor boy." I was like, "Really? Really?" And that's the only system I don't have. So, not to bury the lead, the classic edition of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System is coming back in stock at GameStop. Now, whether I'm going to buy it or not, it's a different story, but it's probably going to be cheaper than trying to find it on eBay at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Probably.
So, I don't know. I still have my games, too. That's the thing. I still have some of my games upstairs in the attic. I just don't have the system. So, we'll see. Did you have a Super Nintendo, my friend?
I did not. I actually had the Genesis, the Sega.
Oh.
Well, actually, I had the first Sega.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the Genesis, but then the Sega Genesis. I didn't get into the Nintendo thing, so and I went from the Genesis to PlayStation 1. So
Nice.
Never had any of the Nintendo stuff. Doesn't mean I didn't play it at friends' houses and stuff, but just didn't.
Well, I was a Nintendo guy forever, and then I had my PlayStations up there too. I had my Genesis. Actually, I have my brother's Genesis. I had two Genesis upstairs, actually. But I love my old classic things. If it was once I finally get my man cave, my dream is to have them all hooked up and in the original form and all that, and just play them.
Hey, and I've read some stories. I mean, some of those old games are worth quite a bit of money. People pay a premium for them because they're not being made anymore.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you go on eBay, I couldn't find a Super Nintendo for a reasonable price at the time I lost mine. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I couldn't imagine now what they're worth, and they might not be worth as much as I just couldn't afford them then either way. But yeah, I don't know. I would be nice to buy a brand new Super Nintendo in the box. Would be kind of cool. So that'd be a weird experience.
Yeah, and I might buy it. I don't do a whole lot of console gaming anymore. I mean,
yeah, neither do I.
My kids have the PlayStation 4 and that stuff, and they like that stuff. But I just don't do the console thing. But it might be fun to have.
Yeah, I'm thinking about buying a Switch actually at some point because I think my kids would really dig it. I have a lot of students that play it. So
yeah, Zeke has one. He has a Switch, and he likes that.
Yeah.
So he can take it with him.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I had a kid show up today in my second period class, and he's actually the kid that I thought would be in the chat room right now. He was playing his Switch, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, it's time for class now. But anyway, all right, man. So moving on to our next story, we're into real reviews kind of stuff. So we've got Jamie Foxx has been offered the Spawn movie lead role, and this just came out yesterday. And he's been reportedly offered for the titular role, Todd McFarlane's upcoming Spawn movie. And according to that hashtag show, he hasn't agreed to it yet, but in the past he has expressed interest in playing Spawn. So, what do you think?
Make it happen. I think. I mean, when I'm thinking of that role, Jamie Foxx is perfect for that.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely perfect for it.
I think that'd be really cool. And I mean, I don't know. I like Jamie Foxx. I think that'd be really freaking awesome. I hope he takes it. I imagine at this point, knowing actor, entertainer like Jamie Foxx, it's a numbers game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sure it's a big
thing.
number.
Yeah, it's a big number, and of course, how much time do you need?
Right.
But that'd be cool, man. I think that'd be neat.
Yeah, I'm glad they're redoing this too because I actually liked the first Spawn movie that came out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was 20 years ago.
It was
which
a
is
long
hard to
time
believe
ago.
now.
It's hard to believe it was that long ago. Because I remember when that came out.
With the advancements in technology that now, it's like, they could be done so much better.
I always wonder sometimes how much that stuff holds up. Like, if I were to put Spawn on right now, like, would I just be like, can't do it? But there's some movies that do hold up. Like, The Matrix holds up.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that, I mean, that was 20 years ago, right?
Well, like my oldest son, he's 22, but he didn't really get into the Star Wars thing as a kid. And then he watched the Force Awakens and then went back and watched the prequels. So I'm like, well, let me grab my Blu-rays and we'll watch the other ones.
Yeah.
And he's like, how could you watch these? Because the special effects were so old. I'm like, this was cutting edge back in the day. You have no idea. This was like super cutting edge.
But it's so hard to find too. Like, I mean, the ones I show when I teach my my unit, when I show them the original Star Wars 1977, it's the updated one. It's the Blu-ray one, and it looks better. But you're right. I mean, it's just not. It's not what it is now. So it's hard. I know. When you come into it too late, I don't know. So let's talk. Okay, here's what I want to do now. I'm gonna skip. No, I'm not gonna skip that. Hold on, let's do this. I'm gonna skip around just a little bit. I'm gonna throw a wrench at you real quick. Let's talk Guardians 3 real quick.
Okay.
So I'm jumping into Universal Usual, and mostly because I want to talk to my friend Mr. Skeen here about Avengers, and not a long full-on review, but I wanted to get his take on it. So, speaking of Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, there has been a release window, which means it's probably going to be... So, during a Facebook Live Q&A, that was yesterday, I believe. No, it was about a week ago. And it said the film will hit theaters in about 2 years, which means it will hit theaters May 1st 2020. Okay, and it was a spot that was already reserved for an undisclosed Marvel film. So we got to wait until 2020, I guess.
Which
Makes sense.
when you said it's only 2 years away, I was like, 2020. Wow, that is only 2 years away.
Yeah, I was doing math in my head too, which is complicated for me.
but hey, I'm all for it as long as they get the soundtrack right, because that's one of my favorite things about Guardians is always the soundtrack.
And Guardians 2 was fun, but I have a special place in my heart for Guardians 1. But
yeah, I'm the same way. I've had a couple of friends that are big comic book geeks that hated Guardians 2.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was bad.
It just wasn't bad. It just wasn't Guardians 1.
Right.
You know. And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. But it's nice to know that we're going to get it. We're starting to see the release dates unfold for some of this stuff, which is cool. All right, so I'm going to kind of bury the lead here. Let's get into some of this. So Avengers Infinity War will help Disney hit $1 billion faster than any studio in history. Their opening weekend was the biggest in history, officially, which is crazy.
Every time one of these movies comes out and it has these huge openings, you're like, oh, that'll never be beat. That'll never be beat. But then 6 months later, and it is getting beat.
Right.
So, I think it just goes to show, as long as they keep putting a quality product out, and obviously we're going to talk more about it here shortly, then they're going to get their numbers.
What's funny is they're beating their own record.
Right.
Right. And so it's like Disney competing with itself, but also making studios, I feel like, making people like, the DC, EU and all that stuff, trying to like compete with something that is like this absolute machine that, to their credit, it's not that they're putting out subpar products, We're getting content that is phenomenal that we want to keep going back to. And of course, as the movies get better and as they build on themselves, people are going to show up, and people are going to show up in larger numbers as they get better. I think what really helped Infinity War, I hate to say it, was Black Panther. Black Panther did unbelievable numbers, And knowing that Black Panther was going to be in that film and knowing how many people went to Black Panther, I wonder how many people were like, all right, what do I need to see in order to see this Infinity War movie? Because I know that Black Panther is going to be in it. Or they just went anyway,
Right. Well, I mean, this movie was the 10-year payoff, right? I mean, you had 18 MCU movies released prior to this. Some of them, I don't think any of them were necessarily flops, but especially with the lead-in from Black Panther, as good as that was, as much revenue as it generated, I think it just rode that train. I mean, you were right there with it. I mean,
and there were some like Thor 2 I wasn't that stoked about. Iron Man 2 is a little shaky. There's a couple of them, but, I mean, none of them were terrible. And I really enjoyed Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, despite what people say. I mean, some of those movies were just a crap ton of fun,
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Hey, more power to him. I think you guys said it best. About 2 years ago when you said it was a license to print money?
Oh, it literally is. Literally. We thought Star Wars was good. Now Marvel's really starting to be like, all right, now we got a formula. We have a storyline. Here's what we can do, and we got these characters. We got these actors that are buying in, and people are going to show up, and I think that's super important. So before we get into, because I would love to talk to you about Infinity War for a couple minutes. Apparently you can already pre-order Infinity War for DVD and 4K and any other thing under the sun, Blu-ray, whatever. So that's cool, I guess, if you really need to pre-order now, sure. I feel like this is a little early for pre-ordering DVDs and stuff. I'm wondering if they're just gauging interest in how many people are willing to also buy this film and see how much money they're going to make on the back end. I'm just wondering.
I think some of it may be because they have a shorter back end, with the next one being released a year later.
That's true.
So they're just trying to capitalize on the momentum they have.
I didn't think about that. That makes sense. You got something in here. You want to talk about this now, or do you want to do the talk about the movie in general first?
We can talk about the movie in general first because I think this actually ties in a little bit.
So maybe I'm wondering. Well, I'll just kind of flag the next, I don't know, 7-8 minutes as spoilers.
And probably a good idea.
Yeah. So, guys, hopefully, I mean, nobody's listening in the chat room anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
if you're one of the 4 people that haven't paid to see the movie yet,
yeah, if you're one of the very few that haven't seen the movie yet, stop it here for a few minutes. Go see the movie, come back, and then listen to the rest of the show. We do have a couple other news items, but it's just 2 quick small things and some San Diego Comic-Con stuff, and then we're going to close out. But while I have Skeen on the line here, I really would like to talk to you about Infinity War, man. Just really impressions and just what you thought.
So, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, it's I can't remember any other series in history where you've had a 18 film, lead up, for a payoff.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever been done, honestly.
Right. So, I approached this film kind of like the final 2 Harry Potter films, where they split it between the 2. And knowing the story from Infinity Gauntlet from back in the 90s with the actual comic, I wasn't, I kind of knew what to expect because that was such a big series of comics that it's like there's no way they can do this in one film, and obviously they didn't. But I mean, I thought it was just nonstop. I mean, literally from I think there was maybe 10 minutes where there wasn't a lot of action going on,
right?
Just from the beginning, and I mean, I was on the edge of my seat most of the movie, just trying to catch everything. I've only seen it once. I don't know if you've seen a second viewing.
No, only once. I'm gonna go back.
But there's just so much to catch and so much going on.
Right.
There wasn't. I can say that there might have been one thing I didn't really care for in the movie, and versus the comic book and the way that they changed it to where Thanos was more about population control, whereas in the comic he was about trying to impress Death, who he was trying. Yeah, who he was trying to court at the time. And, gain favor with. I actually like this version of it better with the movie. It's a little more believable or up to date. They had a lot of characters that they had to tie in together. I mean, if you think of a lot of these characters had standalone films, so there's a lot of screen time to be given out, and I thought that it was handled very appropriately. I didn't feel like one character had more screen time than another. To be honest with you, the one that I thought had the least amount of screen time that I was hoping for more was probably Black Panther.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
But I think they did the best they could with it.
Yeah.
And the other thing to remember, this is part 1. And I know a lot of people that if you're not familiar with the way the comic book went, or they didn't realize that there was a second part, they might have been really disappointed at the end.
Right. I was telling you earlier, I had some students that were exactly that. They're like, well, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I was crying the whole time. I was like, well, good. Also, you probably didn't know that this was also going to be 2 movies.
Right. And we have a big joke in our house between my 14-year-old son Zeke and I. It's like, it's comic books. Nobody's ever really dead.
No, exactly.
Nobody's ever really dead. But I think that if you didn't know, there was probably some shocking moments. For me, one of the biggest one was Loki in the very beginning of the film, and I actually think he's done. I don't think he's coming back.
And what do you think on that note? Do you think Gamora is also gone?
I don't think so, and it kind of ties into.
Tell me it's a Soul Stone thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she's it. So. And it's one of those theories that I'd actually listed on the in the link here.
I haven't read this, but you haven't.
Okay, so in the comic book, Adam Warlock is a key character, and he and the Silver Surfer disappear into the universe that's contained within the Soul Stone. Okay, so the Soul Stone, obviously. He had to sacrifice. Thanos sacrificed Gamora, to the Soul Stone.
Right.
So she may not actually be. She may be dead in the regular world, but in kind of multiverse sense or within the Soul Stone, she still may exist because
Okay.
if you go back to the end of the film after he snaps his fingers,
Right.
they have the scene where it's the young Gamora talking to Thanos, asking if it was worth or what was the cost.
Right.
I think that's her in the Soul Stone.
Okay. Oh, I like that. Okay.
It's a theory,
Sure,
obviously, I don't know for
I
sure.
don't know either, but yeah, shoot, I like it.
But it makes me wonder if all of the characters, and we know these characters have to be coming back because some of them have contracts for other movies. That
Well,
are,
also we know
coming out
Guardians 3 is coming, which we just talked about, and we also know, I mean, unless the timeline is off, we know Gamora's not dead in that one, right?
Right.
So that's another thing. So
Yeah. So my theory is they're all in the Soul Stone,
okay,
and then somehow we'll see how they do it in the movies, but somehow they're going to break the Soul Stone or find a way
Okay.
to get out of the Soul Stone and reverse things around.
and also, I mean, can you confirm too? Because I don't remember, because we were talking about it on the show. Star-Lord got sucked, also died, right?
It's funny because you're saying that this morning, and then I started second guessing myself.
Well, now I'm second guessing it again. I'm like, well,
I think he did because
I'm
I'm
pretty
pretty
sure he
sure it was at the end there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was
it was
just-
him and Drax, and
Yeah.
it was like most of the Guardians went except for
but
Rocket.
wasn't it Tony Stark standing there by himself?
Yeah, pretty much. And that was that
Yeah.
group that was there, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so one of the other things I want to talk to you about too is, I think I had a really quick theory while you were talking about Black Panther. Why he got some screen time, but not as much as maybe some of the others. But I think they offset that a bit by having a big battle on Wakanda. So he got to, he was there. He didn't have a lot of speaking moments, but he was able to, you did get to see him fight, and you saw Wakanda react to what was going on, which I thought was kind of cool. So,
Right.
So we'll see him again. So I don't know, man. What else we got? What else you like?
Well, yeah. The other thing too is going back to kind of that theory portion was, and I didn't notice it myself during the movie, but I guess Shuri downloaded all of Vision's information,
Oh, really?
all of his code, and put something in her pocket quickly before some
Oh,
of the
when they were
Black
busting
Guard-
in the room, right?
Yeah, before
Yeah.
the Black Guard started busting in. So I
Okay.
think that might be another, maybe she had a pattern from that stone,
Okay.
or, maybe she can build a new vision. I don't know.
Wow.
Kind of downloaded all his information and can just re-upload it into something else.
No, that's cool.
So I mean, there's so many different possibilities as
For
to
sure.
what can happen. But, I thought all the fight scenes were fantastic. I love Bruce Banner and the Hulkbuster stuff.
Well,
That's just the irony
and
of
wasn't
it.
that so ironic? It was so weird. It was like, so you're gonna participate in the battle. Why don't you get into the outfit that was built to fight your Hulk version of yourself, and while at the same time try to get your Hulk version of yourself and fight with him in the suit, but never come to fruition. I just thought
Right.
that was such a trip. I think that's gonna be a huge moment. And I know that why they had the conflict. And I think I said this in the last show. They did a really good job of the power balancing. There's obviously some huge power imbalances, Vision and Scarlet Witch and Hulk and that kind of thing. But when you wrap the story part of it in it, it changed the dynamic a little bit. And so Hulk, I mean, Bruce Banner was having an issue with Hulk. He had his time off on, in Ragnarok or whatever, and had his little time, but then, he comes back to help, and now Hulk's refusing to come out. And I think that's hilarious, but at the same time, I think in the next film, him coming out is going to be super necessary, and I think that's going to be a really important kind of moment, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I like the way that the movie teased a happy ending for a minute too. Like twice did the same thing. Like once with once when Thor hits him with the axe and
Yeah.
it has him down and he's pushing it into his chest and you hear him whisper, "You should have gone for the head."
Yeah,
You
I
know,
just-
and he turns time back.
Yeah.
You know, and Vision is dead by that point, and then you know he turns it back so he can get the stone. I'm like, good grief! You know, it's like you thought it was the the finale, but
Right.
nope.
But really, it wasn't. And I love that kind of stuff in storytelling, especially when you know when in the back of our minds, and I'm sure you were there too. You know the ending's not going to be a happy ending, but like, oh, maybe they'll do it. No, they're not going to do it. They're messing with us.
Right.
And then when it happens, it's like, damn it, I should have known. You know.
And then it's the way the death scenes were done was so haunting. Yeah, there was hardly any music during that time. I don't know if you noticed that or not. It was just let the visuals kind of speak for itself.
It was that silence, and then I think one of the more heartbreaking moments was Tom Holland's departure, where you see that young kid, and he's just like, I think what does he give? I think he gives Stark a hug or something like that, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's hugging him.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to die.
Yeah, he's like, I don't feel so good. Oh, I don't want to die. And it's like you see and this teenager struggling with this moment. Like he finally got what he wanted. He's part of the Avengers, and then now he's got to go, and he doesn't want to go. And that they did a really, really good job, man, on playing on that. And again, obviously, comics, who's dead, who's not. We're going to talk about this for another year, I'm sure. But, I mean, as far as where this ranks for you, I mean, where are we at Marvel-wise? We have 18 movies, obviously, to deal with. But as far as the Avengers films, I think it's pretty strong. But I don't know. Overall, is it what you expected? You got what you wanted? Where's the rank for you? What do you think?
It's definitely, and I try not to actually, rank things. Because I
not like number wise, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've got it. And it's like, I hated that. I definitely put it within my top 3 probably.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely up there. I mean, Black Panther is still probably my favorite.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Then Winter Soldier, and then probably this one.
It's funny. We're very similar. I love Black Panther. Obviously, I've raved about it enough. But I love Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is one of my favorite Marvel movies. I love that movie. Yeah, man. And like I said, I said earlier, I like some of the lighthearted ones a little bit more than other people did. But this movie, I'm really intrigued to see where they go with it. So, do you want to let's talk about what you got here in the notes. What do you got? 6 theories?
Oh, that's kind of what I was actually just talking about.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, was some of that. And
let's make sure we didn't miss anything.
Else. I liked the humor in this one. It wasn't overdone. Mm-hmm. Well, I liked Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was more of a comedy.
Oh, definitely.
Anything else? And I felt like with this, it was really well done. Like it was just interjected where it needed to be, and was kind of part of the story.
Right.
Especially. Because we said Winter Soldier, that's why it reminded me. But especially at the end when he's standing next to Rocket, and Bucky's standing next to Rocket, because how much for the arm?
Yeah, it's so great.
Then you hear, I'm going to get that arm.
Yeah, it's just little moments like that, and that's why I love the Guardians, guys. It's those little quips, it's those little subtle muttering to themselves kind of moments that you just love, Yeah. All right, man. Anything else on Infinity War before we move on?
No, I want to see it again though, because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I missed. There's so much going on.
Me too. And the ending, the obviously the nod to Captain Marvel, which I'm also really looking forward to as well. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So, all right, man. So I only have a couple more things. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. So let's talk about what's going on in the SMOD world. He was on the Colbert Report, I think, yesterday or the day before. Can't remember. I haven't been able to check out the footage on that yet, but I have a link in the show notes to the tweet. But I'm willing to check that out. Obviously, he was going to talk about his heart attack and various other things as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And he also was saying on a podcast too, not on a podcast, online. He was saying somebody literally followed him home. He was doing a show, I want to say in Iowa. Let me double check. He just did a couple road shows. They did a Babylon show, in Des Moines, Iowa. And he put a tweet up and he says somebody was tailing him after the show. And what's crazy about it is they kept driving to a loose tail, but they followed him for 20 minutes. He did some speedy maneuvers through the back streets in the burbs to lose him. It was a bit unnerving, but didn't ruin a good night of shows. I just thought that was interesting because as much as I love Kevin Smith, I would never follow him home. You know what I mean? Like, we have to I don't know, not disconnect, but just kind of like separate ourselves from the fact that, okay, this person is entertaining and we look up to him. And Kevin Smith's one of my heroes, man. I love everything about him. I'm glad he's still on this planet. But at the same time, don't stalk people. Don't follow people. Come on. It's crazy.
I think that's a byproduct of the age of the internet. I think people, for some reason, feel closer or more entitled to information and or privileged to be around somebody than what they probably should.
And it's like, I followed you on Instagram for 5 years. I should be able to follow you home if I want to, and knock on your door, or show up by your car because I'm awkwardly standing by it. Like, that's weird, you know. Yeah. But you're right. There is that moment. There is that, because I feel closer to you, I feel like I'm good to talk to you,
right,
or to do this thing. And Kevin Smith's approachable. I mean, I've seen him just randomly, and you can talk to him, but don't be weird about it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. and you know, you can cut this part out if you want to.
I probably will cut none of it. But
okay. Well, so one of the things that happened with Kevin Smith, and I listen to Hollywood Babylon, and I occasionally catch Batman on Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that happened after his heart attack kind of inspired me a little bit. Something a lot of people don't know. You know, because we talked about it a little bit this last year. But unfortunately, last year I found out I had colon cancer. And, thankfully caught it very, very early.
Good.
Surgery taken care of. Went back this last week to do the follow-up tests, and completely clean. Everything's good to go.
Oh, so glad to hear
really
that.
happy about that. But when it was going on, I didn't talk to a lot of people about it, just because I was like, number one is my colon, who talks about that.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things.
But my thing that I'm trying to talk to people, because I'm not even at the age where I'm supposed to get regular tests or anything yet. So that's why I'm glad it was caught. But is, don't be ashamed to talk about things like that to other people. I try to talk to other people about it now, saying, hey, make sure, it's not the most manly thing to say, I got to go get checked out for colon cancer, but it's important if you catch it early, the way that I did. So please, if you're getting near that age where it's time to get checked out, or you got pains that don't seem to go away, which was the problem I was having, get checked out, because you never know,
Well,
I got
and I'm actually glad you said that, man, because, I mean, I may have said this a few weeks ago, or when he had this issue, but it inspired me in the same way. I made an appointment with my doctor, and I went and I saw her, and I said, look, I'm here. My blood work before, I had high cholesterol, I had some stuff that I want to deal with, and so I hadn't followed up on that in a long time. And so, long and the short of it is, I said, look, my grandfather who passed last year, when he was 30, had something going on with his colon as well. And so my whole thing is that, and I said, look, I know my insurance probably won't pay for it, but since we're talking about it, I mean, obviously I should, my sister did too. I should have a colonoscopy. And so she's trying to figure that out. And the bottom line is my cholesterol is still kind of high and stuff like that. But his heart attack and his brush with death made me look at my life, and I said, look, okay, so here's the deal. I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I'm not even 40 years old, but the way everything is set up right now in our culture as far as food and everything else and what we're doing to our bodies, we have to be aware of this stuff. And there's, for Kevin, for Kevin Smith, his issue obviously was hereditary too. He had the heart things that was through his family. So I had to kind of try to talk to my mom and figure out, okay, so what should I be doing? Because I don't want to find out when it's too late. You know what I mean? Exactly. And I'm glad you found out early. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad Kevin Smith's still here. And I'm glad I did what I did, and I have a follow-up in a few months. and I'm hopefully gonna get a handle on this stuff so I can be around for my kids, man. And I think,
Exactly.
and honestly, like, and I think these kind of events, these sort of they're wake up calls. Honestly, like I've been following Kevin Smith forever, and then his near death experience was like, oh my God, what have I done lately? Like, how am I living my life? When was the last time I went to the doctor? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, I need to take care of this stuff, and I think all that stuff's super important. So I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad Kevin's still here, and that's why we latch on. I feel like this is why we latch on to celebrities and content creators the way we do, is because when something happens in their life, it's public, and it makes us be like, holy crap, I should do something too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, man, I'm so glad to hear that came back. Yeah, you hadn't told me that, by the way.
Okay.
that you were clean and good. So I'm so happy to hear that.
I just found out yesterday. So,
Oh, well, good. Okay.
Yeah,
So we're on the same page.
Made for a happy day.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so good, dude. That's so
Yeah,
good.
keep doing what you're doing though. Keep going to the doctor. Like I said,
man.
I've always kind of taken that John Wayne approach to things because that's how my dad
Well, of
has
course.
been. And it's like I gotta quit doing that.
Well,
There's
that's
nothing
the
to
thing.
be gained from that. So.
And we got to be aware of what we're doing and take care of ourselves. I think that's super important. So,
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Smith?
Nope.
All right. Last thing here, because I had to leave this in because I'm trying to convince you to come to San Diego one of these years. Are you even? Can you go next year? You got to come next year. At least try.
I'm hoping next year.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
definitely hoping next year.
Good.
So.
So our San Diego Comic-Con news before we close out the show. And again, thanks, man, for being here. This has been awesome. So big news. Kevin Feige says that Marvel Studios won't be in Hall H this year at Comic-Con. And that's kind of a big deal. I know they were thinking about not doing it last year, and I think they ended up doing it. And now they won't be at all. I don't know what other presents they're going to have, but like I said, they've been kind of right up against what is it, D23,
Right.
But there's no D23 event this year, but they're still not going to be in Hall H, and that's a big deal.
You think they're just pulling away because it's a Disney-owned thing, and they're just trying to get more people to be at the D23 instead of this, or?
That's one theory I've got. Honestly, I think that Disney overall is going to try to pull out of San Diego. Is a pain in the butt now for people to go to, and it's not. I'm talking about for the studios to go to. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot. And so I'm thinking they already have their own convention. Why do they need San Diego?
Right. I mean, if you think about it, the convention is basically advertising.
It is.
And any advertising, you want a certain return on your investment.
Right.
And they're getting it just through general social media anyways. They're getting it through regular news sources, and they're getting it through D23 and just the machine that is Disney at this point. So...
And they're looking at, they're like, why spend how many thousands and thousands of dollars to fly out, probably millions. I mean, what are we talking about for celebrities and stuff to get them out there to promote their movies and stuff and that kind of thing? Some of them are already going to be there for other projects, but it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And like last year, D23 was like literally the week before, so why bother?
Right.
So
yeah, I have a feeling they're not going to be coming back, at least for a while, unless they find that it's going to be advantageous somehow for them to do it.
Yeah, we'll see what the incentive might be. And for those of you still that are trying to go to San Diego Comic-Con, I do have a link in the show notes to a nice little guide. If you did not get a hotel in Hotel Apocalypse with the lottery and all that, there's some options. You won't be sleeping on the ground unless you really want to. So it's a good link. It's STCC unofficial blog or whatever. It's a good site. Definitely check their stuff out. And here we are, my friend, at the end of a show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. This has been a lot of fun.
No, this has been great. I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad we did what we did. We got to talk about a lot of stuff and catch up. And I'm glad we're both still here doing what we're doing. And then We got to have you on again with Will, and we'll go from there. And we have you more often. I'd like to have our drinking buddies on, more often than not, to be honest with you. But this time of year in the summertime, I think it'd be a little easier. So let's go with that.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good. All right, man. Before I tune out here and do my little spiel at the end, best to the family and all that stuff, man. And I'm so glad that you decided to join us tonight. So
Yeah, best to yours as well.
Thanks, man. So thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter, and Mr. Skeen as is
At John R. Skeen.
and my normal co-host is at IMO Griggs, and iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play. Find us there. Get merch, teespring.com/store/usualpodcast. Buy a t-shirt. A lot of it goes to a cause and help support the show. And ways to support the show also are audibletrial.com/usualpodcast. You can get audiobook for free on us. And of course, the best way to support us is patreon.com/usualpodcast. We have a bunch of tiers, bunch of rewards. Check us out there. We got a newsletter, booper reels, early releases of the shows, and stuff like that. So, dude, I'm not going to make you do what Will always does, but anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Have a fun, everybody.
Oh, he did anyway. Have a fun. We'll see you all next week. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate you being on tonight.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad it worked out because usually it's a last minute thing, and then you're like, I just didn't have time. So,
no, and then I just feel bad if it's like literally like an hour before we're supposed to record. At least I caught it in the afternoon or whatever. So, thanks so much, man.
No problem. Hopefully you get rid of that echo there, whatever's causing that.
Well, I don't know what it was, what he was hearing, but nobody joined anyway. So I think it was a Twitch thing. But we'll have to experiment with it for next time because I wanna figure out where that's coming from if it is. And I know it's not in the audio file that I captured, but I'll double check. But if so, I can always pull it from something else. So we'll be good either way. So Thanks again, dude. I'm gonna start closing all this stuff out and
go get some rest, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna get some rest and actually say hi to my wife who I haven't seen in a while. So
there you go. All right, man. Have a good night.
I'll talk to you later. Thanks, man. Later.
Bye.